Hey guys, we're back. Okay, so we hit a bit of a problem there, and I need to reset things up. So if you just give me 10 seconds or so, it's more likely to be the so to get this redone. Okay. Right, so we are basically back to where we should be. I've got to start a couple of programs up. Okay, so we had a bit of a power trip there. And we are back, so let's carry on and get a drink of my coffee. And what we actually want to look at here is a more, let's say, a bigger room, or should I say ways to branch off the room. Okay, so from that point of view, we do have to look at our map, especially map 1. And basically check that our branching parts also branch off our room parts. Okay, so what I mean by that is, if we have an outside wall like here for example, we obviously need a part that is going to branch off correctly. Okay, so basically what we need is, let's say, a T, would it be a T junction? No, it wouldn't be a T junction. It would be a straight. Right? But this straight now isn't going to work. And I'll show you why. I'm going to delete that for now. then what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our 50, and then I'm going to drop in our straight, okay, and what we'll do is we'll line it up right, and we'll have it coming off. And we shall have it, wait till I see, and if we put it here, right, you'll notice that we don't come off the room the same. Right, what we've actually got here is this, which is the room layout entry, right, but what we actually need is a two-way one. So this is entry exit, okay, and then what we need to do with this is basically remove this, then have a duplicate of that, right, but we need to spin it around 90 degrees. Okay, and then we actually need to take, right, I'm going to undo that, right, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this into the level over at our exit point to make sure that it actually lines up, and then we can delete both the parts that we need to, right, now that should be right, and it is. But obviously this thing needs certain things deleted out of it. Okay. And the next thing we need to do is basically adjust these things here. So we shall save that for now. Then what we'll do is duplicate that. Then we'll rename this to entry exit. Then we shall go in here, go to the viewport, and then we'll duplicate them. Then we'll delete that. Then we'll save that. Okay. And then in here, this minimap turn, we'll undo that. We'll delete that. And that should be us. Okay. And that works fine. Okay. And the next question has to be, does a door fit with what we're trying to do? I don't believe it does. In fact, it doesn't at all. Right, but what we can do is, if we go to layout parts again, we're not going to do a door end, we're just going to do a door. So we're going to duplicate that. And that's going to be door room. And then we're going to drop it into here. Then we're going to open it. We're going to go to the viewport. And that bit's okay. That bit's okay, but this bit has to go. And now we need what are these meshes? Okay. Right, so basically we delete these. Okay. Now what I want to see here is if we look at the actual this one and we look at the door, right, we can look at which it's the minimap T junction. Right now it would appear to me that this is actually the same let's have a look at minimap T junction. Minimap T junction, right, basically is what I thought it was. Right, so we're going to close down the door, we're going to go back to here, we're going to delete that, but what we're going to do is we're going to drag this in. Right, but actually I'm not 100% sure this is actually going to work. It might. Okay. So now if I delete, hi Musty Bees, it's already up for my Patreons, well at least the initial build. Hi Mr. Spock. Right, so drag this in, and therefore we check this out, make sure it all fits correctly. And it does, and it looks okay. So does our minimap look okay is the question. Oh, look at that, it looks great. Right, perfect. Right, what have I been working on, guys? Well, I'll show you, shall I? So that's like exits and entries from a room situation and not just the corridor situation, right? So that gives me more things to play with when I come to make up levels, right? Now, I have added the rating to this, right? So it's so that you know which levels to try again if your rating's crap. Okay, so you can see there that we've done that, but we've not got a rating for that, right? Oh shit. Now, no, that's okay, right? We can hit enter there, right? Oh, by the way, musty bees. You might have noticed we've actually got... No, actually I switched off. But we've got head bob, but it's an option. Oh, this is for the both of you actually, by the way. Right, here we go. Right. Ah, pressed the wrong button. Oh, here's another thing. If you're in here and you want to go back to the main menu, you just go out the door, right? And if you go to options and gameplay, you can look up and down and you can head bob. Okay? So it allows you to look up a certain amount and down a certain amount. And when you walk, you've got bob, head bob. Right? So that was for both of you. Musty Bees was looking for head bob, and Mr. Spot was looking for looking up and down. But also I've put them as options, gameplay options, right? So now the next thing major is I have, well, basically you get attacked and killed, right? And you get damaged, right? So if a spike comes down, it hits you, you get your blood spurty thing, right? and then it disappears after a certain amount of time. Right, this guy's going to chase me, right? And here he comes, and he jumps on me, it spins the camera around, you get locked in place and he attacks, right? And that all happens in the right order, right? And now my guy is going to get attacked again. It spins the camera around and he gets attacked, right? Now, that's not going to happen all the time. That's just because I didn't move, right? And that leads me to believe that when the player gets attacked and then he dies, I should set the monster to return to home. Right, now I did have a state for the monster that returns him home, okay? But I didn't know if I was actually going to use it or not. But I've kind of decided that I want to. Right, because that would stop silly things like that last thing happening. I mean, there's other ways of stopping it anyway, but basically what's happening here, right, I'll explain it, is the best way to do it, right? Oh, and by the way, the monsters can open the doors now as well. Right? Oh yeah, and if you walk past graffiti, it'll play sound. Sometimes. Right? Now the monsters can open doors, but they can't go through the wooden blocks, okay? Okay, but yeah, what was I going to show you? Oh yeah, that the monsters basically, that was because I had, the monster was blocked off, right? But he will come around this way. Now, there's another thing that I want to do, which I've got the prototype code for. Now, there's another monster down here somewhere. I'm going to have to do something with that pickups thing. And for some reason, we're not got any music either. Now, I'm not even very good at playing my own bloody game, but... Right. We're going to have to do something with this pickups thing. Right? Because, as far as I'm concerned, it's an abomination. Now, there is something else I was playing with to get a logo. Right? So, let's have a look at that. Because it's quite interesting. Maybe. Well, that came up with a load of crap. Oh, yeah. Right, you guys are going to have to talk to me while I do this, right? but I'm using an AI to just muck around and get some ideas. I'll close that. Right, and what you can do here is you can type in Victorian gentleman vampire cross dramatic, right? And then you can just go hit create and it will come up with something. This is pollination.ai if you guys want to try it. It's basically for coming up with like images, like but artistic images of stuff. It's not really, it doesn't come up with it's not very fast either actually, right? But it comes up with interesting things that I think if you get the correct terminology, it might actually come up with something useful. In fact, earlier on, I think it actually did come up with something useful. But I had that power cut, which meant that I lost my stream and I lost what I'd actually typed in at that point. Right? But yeah, what I've also got, now I'll show you the code here for it. I've got a preliminary where basically I remove myself from the first person's perspective and then basically pop in the actual character. Oh, this is quite cool, guys. What's this, right? This is what it came up with for Victorian Gentleman Vampire Cross Dramatic. What do you think? I mean, they're kind of nearly usable as like a... I'm just wondering if it makes any difference putting commas in between these. Right, now when you're making your games, you should really try and come across these weird, wacky things. Yeah, I could do. Right, but what I want to do is... look at this first person. Right, now I've kept this aside, but basically what I do is I spawn the character and then draw the camera out, the relative camera position, so it looks like I really need to lerp this. Right? Which would be easy enough to do, of course, but you'd always say like move to it's Apparently it's not a simple move to, it's an actual move to. So it's a move component to. Right. So we could just basically do that. And split this pin. And it's on the X. Might not always be the case, but we could. This basically gives us a simple probably do want to ease in and ease out, but it's not going to be a long enough time to actually do that, to be fair. Delete that. Move that to there. I'll show you what this does in a second. I don't know exactly what you mean by that. You mean yeah, I mean you can lerp the opacity, that's not a problem. You could just lerp it. Yeah, I mean that's not that hard to do. Right, we could do something with it just now. Right, but I want to... Well, do I want to test this? Ah, red filter over the screen. Ah, pressed the wrong one. I wanted to see what this had come back with this time. We'll try your mansion idea. Well, I mean, this is where it gets interesting. Yeah, you could do that, and then I'd have to check. I mean, this is where it gets silly, because I would basically start checking what the beat of a pulse is in real time when you're terrified, which is probably about 150 beats per minute or something. Okay, let's check it out. Pulse when pulse rate when scared. Right, what is your heart? you might get up to 100 per. So that's 100 would be what, every 0.6 seconds? Right, let's have a look. Ah, it depends what age you are. As you get older, well, 20 is when your heart rate is at its fastest, and then basically at 30 it slows down, and then it's basically every 5 years after that it slows down. So that's nearly the type of thing we're after. It says he's holding a cross, but that's lying because he's not. I'll say mansion background. Mansion in the background. We'll try and see what it comes up with this time. While we do this. Right, so yeah, basically what you would do is, let's say we'll create it in here first, right? Let's see if we can actually create a material from scratch and not bugger it up. Right? Matte. We'll call it pulsing. Okay, so the first thing it's going to be is translucent, so that we get opacity. Right? And then we need a vector. That'll do. Right, but we'll make it a kind of a darker red, even a little bit darker than that maybe. Okay, that. So that goes into your base. Right? Now, we need a lerp, obviously. Height lerp. And we need an alpha, which is going to be the time. Right, so I'm kind of rubbish at this. Lerp between 0 and, let's say, 0.5. Right, and then we're going to need a time. And I've got absolutely zero idea how to do this, right? Would it be right? So the next thing we'll do is we'll add a blueprint, right? And we'll just make it an actor to test it, right? And then we'll add a plane. And then we'll add our material. Alright, and that's not what I wanted. Okay. We'll delete that crap. As I said, I'm not very good at materials, so I need to learn more about it, to be honest. Right, so that's doing jack shit. Now, is that doing jack shit because of the opacity thing? Well, we can test that. Alright, we can make this a constant. Right, and put that at 1. Right, so if we save that, right, we get that. LERP B&W opacity. What's B&W, Cybershell? And we're just pissing about. Somebody wanted a material that basically the opacity would be the pulse. Oh yeah, and I solved the issue the other day. As I said, it was nothing to do with the actual position of the rotation. You actually have, because the pawn was controlled by the controller. So what it was doing was basically it was turning, but then it was turning straight back again because it was taking its cue from the actual controller. So basically I had to do a special thing with the actual player controller rather than the pawn. Right, so I don't know what B&W means. You would think... Right, I've got a LERP. And the time in the alpha. And it's set between 0 and 0.5. But if I plug this in, I get nothing. Right? Might be that it's just wrong. So, there's the LERPs. Right, I don't see LERP B&W. I'm taking it B&W's black and white or something. But I don't get you on this one. You can't really simulate it in the material. Right, but this is what I was doing here. Right, I was simulating, but if I plug that back in there and then simulate it now, it doesn't do anything. Right, I don't, as I said, I'm not very good at materials. I don't, black and white value from what? I'm going to do a quick material pulse. Oh. Right, that's one answer, but it doesn't really. They're not. That's an interesting one, but they're not doing it on the emissive. They're doing it on emissive and not opacity, but there's no really any reason why the emissive wouldn't be the same. Because basically you're just getting a value between 0 and 1 anyway. Right. Here's our latest. In the background we can see a mansion. No, you can't. Yeah, that's kinda nearly. It's not got any vampire-y stuff in it. We'll type in old building and go for that. Linear sign. Yeah, that was kind of what. Yeah, the first one was okay, but Victorian gentleman didn't really bear any relation to how the game looks. Yeah, I noticed that, by the way, Cyber, that the examples I was looking at there had the sign thing. You're saying linear sign. Right, so I guess I'm going to have to do that. And do that. Right, now, I don't know how this is going to react at the basic level here. I guess I'm going to have to put some values. Might work. Yeah, that would actually. Now, the interesting part here now is I'm going to have to reset this, right? No, I don't really need it to be modifiable as an instance or nothing. It's just to get which one this does, right? Defaults to 1. So I'm guessing if I change this, it'll basically go faster, right? Constant bias scale, the sine wave to -1 to 1 range. See, that's fine. That's fine, because that's just ping-ponging back from -1 to 1. And aligns the phase with standard fine. So, yeah, that's fine, because it's a sine wave, isn't it? So, that's cool. So that works. But the thing is here now is that, yeah, I'm sure the period does what I need it to do, and that would be fine. But what I actually need to do is turn that into a user interface material. Right, as I said, it's Saturday, we're just pissing around. We're prototyping stuff and seeing what works and what doesn't work. Now, here's the thing. Where is... Right, if we look at the HUD, right? HUD. Go images. Drag this in. Right. Now, the question is, yeah, I normally do that. I do that with a lot of stuff here, right? Right, so that's okay. Now, the question now... Yeah, that I'll show you. Actually, I'll show you. I'll show you exactly how I use it in the game. The dynamic material. Right? I do it with the actual damage one just now. Right? I'll show you. Right, it's a dynamic material instance that that does the fade out of the blood. Right, so if I get hit, right, watch the blood disappear. Right, that's the material. That's done by the... Yeah, that's done by the dynamic material parameters. Just setting a scalar. Right, where were we? Right. Oh, I'm getting confused. Right. Here, by the way, let me see if I can find it quickly for you. That's not it. This isn't it. It's... Where is it? It's called Spin the Pawn. We're spinning the pawn. Right, okay, whatever. We're going to the monsters. AI services, and it's not that, it's the tasks, and it's here. Right, so this is it here, Cyber, right? So I calculate the rotation as we were doing, right? And then I pass it to the pawn to spin to face monster, right? And then I lerp it, but you've got to use this set control rotation on the actual player controller. Right, so I do a couple of things. I switch off the player's ability to move when basically it's when he's caught, right? And then it spins the pawn to face the monster so that you basically see the architect of your demise. Okay? That's the thought behind it. Now, in the pawn itself, I actually have a widget which is this here, right? And that is a blood outline. Okay, so if I go to the HUD and widgets and blood outline, right? Oh, I can't remember how to do this. What is it you set here? God, this is... There's something here where I just set the material. And it's obviously not an image, because there's the image there. Oh, maybe it is. Is it Matt Paulson? Yeah, it is. There you go. Right, so we can now use that. I don't know, I think this might be going to have to put blooming warnings, epileptic warnings on this if I start doing the flashy blood and stuff like that. Right, so if we just basically get hit. Ah, see, it's not doing the opacity right. Well, that's weird. I mean, at the end of the day, you could do it a different way. Wait a minute. Yeah, that's not going to work, is it? There's other ways around about this. I could just change it from being a widget to being a plane in front of the screen and just attach the material to that. That would work as well. Right, I can... Can I? I could do that, but that's going to take a little bit of fricking about. Right, in the meantime, we're going to have to check what we've come up with in our dramatic. That's got potential, hasn't it? Right, see the likes of this, I don't know how I'm supposed to... Yeah. His eyes look kind of squint. But I don't know how to download these, right? Or how you get a link or whatever. Don't know how it works. But I mean, you could use it as to give an artist a basic idea of what you're looking for. Right, because I wouldn't be able to describe this type of thing or draw it in a way that an artist could actually make it any better, because it would just be basically a stick man or something. And it'd be kind of crap. Right. So, I tell you what, I'm going to head for now. I'm going to have a think about this. Yes, probably I need to do something with a mask coming off the texture. Right, so I'd have to do this as a mask coming off the alpha. I'm pretty sure it's component mask that I've used before. And let's do a multiply add. Oh, it doesn't like that. Mask RG. Right. There you go. Got it working. Kinda. It's not pulsing anymore though. Might be the other way around. Do that as the base. Do that as the alpha. Or the add. Close but no cigar. Okay. So what if I just multiply them? This is when we start having some fun and nothing works. Try that. I tend to get things to work, but it's just hit and a miss, you know? It's usually just pure damn luck. And there we go. You see? Told you, it's just pure luck, like, you know? It's not like I know what I'm doing or anything. As long as you're good at guessing. There we go. How's about that? There you go. Are you happy with that, Mr. Spock? That good enough? You think so? Well, it works. It works. And I call working a win. Now, the stupid thing was, right, I realised when I was doing the graffiti, right, I was trying to do it in Substance Painter, but I don't need to. All I actually need to do is do it in a paint program, right? The only thing that Substance Painter gave me really was the drips, and if I just get my tablet out and plug it in, then I can probably do a reasonable attempt at the drips myself. And then I've got a choice of a heck of a lot more fonts because I'm kind of limited in Substance Painter for the number of fonts I can do. Right, anyway, Cybershell, here's the point. What I wanted to do with the rotation, right? Right, so hopefully... So basically, the monster's going to come up. It's going to attack me and jump on me. But before he jumps at me, it's going to spin me round to look at him. Running drips take a lot more effort. Anything, well, put it this way, any development, the more complicated you make it, the longer it takes, right? And you need to use different... Yes, you can do it. You can do it with particles. Right, now there's obviously a brick wall here that they can't get through. They can get through the doors, but there's obviously a wooden break. And I can't really show you this working properly unless they bugger off. unless, right, he's, go away, right, if I go here now, right, he can come up there, right, oh, he needed, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Right, what we can do is we can turn around and back ourselves in. Right, he's seen me, he jumped, right, and then, so it spun me round. All that's working, it happens pretty fast, right, but what is happening basically is he jumps on me, which stops me moving. It spins the camera around so you see the monster, and then it waits for a certain amount of time, which is obviously not enough at the moment, that it starts the level again and you lose a life. Okay, so you'll notice I'm back at the start. Right, so everything there is happening in the right order and stuff, but it's just I haven't refined it yet. I'm going to need to do something with this pickups thing. I think what I'm going to do with the pickups thing is I'm going to get some sort of a vampire teeth logo or something and do something with that. If any of you guys have got any bright ideas, then let me know. Oh, is he the other side of that? No, he isn't. Right, so I'll turn around, right, and right, he's seen me because you hear him laughing. He's jumped at me, spins round, attacks, end the game. Yeah, but it won't be free. I think I have something like that actually in one of the assets, but I don't know which one it is. I'd have to have a look through them. But the rain was kind of weird. I'm guessing it's this type of one here. Yeah. I think I've got something that does that. Right, we're gonna do we have apparently not. I had a kind of weather system, but It's not here. Nope, not here. Oh well, never mind. Right, I'm going to call it there anyway. So if you enjoyed it, hit like and subscribe. Check out the description for Discord, my previous game, and my Patreon. And I shall be back later. I might not be at 8, but it'll be at some point. It'll probably be 9. That'll be 9 Central. So I hope to see you then, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye bye for now.